Hi everyone, here's your boy Denzel, and today we have a special guest. He's well known around Pennsylvania, mostly for his presence, and we call him Ethan Poetic. And he has a great story for everybody today, and we really want to make sure that we recognize the great jobs that he's doing around the community, and also for his story. So let's welcome Ethan. How you doing?
Thanks, Denzel. Thanks for welcoming me here, man, as a guest.
Yeah, so do you want to tell us, present yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm from coastal Pennsylvania. I was born in Brandywine Hospital. I lived there for several years until my mom decided to move to Lancaster. And it was during my 8th grade year, where I ended up going to Wheatland Middle School, and then eventually graduated from J.P. McCaskey High School. Right out of high school, I got a job, and then I became a pro video gamer. And then a few years later, I ended up running the Jordan Steffi at church, and then we've been connected ever since then. And I've been part of the TALA program, formerly known as Children Deserve a Chance Foundation.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. I'm also part of the TALA program, and of course, I came here 4 years ago, and Jordan has been a great mentor to me too. And I just want you to talk a little bit about who he is for you and like your relationship with him.
Well, again, it started off at church where he just sat next to me, and I couldn't believe it. Like, is this really Jordan Steph, the guy who's on Football Friday, Maryland Terps graduate? And he said his name, and after service was over, we just clicked right away with our conversations. And then it's just so cool. By coincidence that we kept seeing each other in Lancaster City often. Mm-hmm. It was unplanned, and just by coincidence. And he ended up inviting me into the program. And he allowed me to go on college tours, meet people who are his mentors, but also very poor people who are on the board and private sponsors.
Yeah, that's really great. He's giving me the same opportunity too, and it's really amazing. So what are you doing right now exactly in terms of job and like school?
Well, prior to the coronavirus, I was working 2 jobs. One was at Envision Enterprises. Basically, I was a camp counselor last summer, and then once the school year started, I was part of the early morning child care, where basically a parent or guardian drops their child off either in middle school or elementary school. We take care of the children from the early mornings until a certain time for breakfast, and then they get dismissed to their homerooms. My other job was the sports program for the schools in Lancaster, doing the basketball, football, and of course track and field, varsity, freshman, and middle school. And I'm also a senior at Millsville University, major communication, minor in broadcasting. And pretty much once the coronavirus came and the government shutdown happened, I lost both my jobs. But I still finished strong by passing both my college classes for the spring semester 2020.
All right. For everybody that know Ethan around Pennsylvania, I know there's a lot of us that usually see him at basketball games and everything. He's somebody that doesn't really say much, but he's surely impacted me, and he probably doesn't know it. And I usually see him at basketball games, and I'm usually like, there's something different about this guy here. So here's the reason why I'm with him in the stage right now, and really wanted to learn more about his and share his stories with you guys. And I wanted to ask you a question about why do you choose to do what you do, being in like most of the sport game, basketball, football, different games, and trying to support all the kids? What is the purpose with that?
I can relate to the student athletes because I'm a former student athlete who used to play football, wrestling, track, and field. But also realize, as I get ready to tell my story, that some student athletes need encouragement to keep going on throughout the season, but also sometimes they go unrecognized because there's some things we don't see behind the scenes with education, practices, and also people sticking together during times of adversity behind the scenes as they're being supported by their athletic directors, parents. I believe that today's student athletes should be recognized for not only their leadership on the court, on the field, but also in the classroom and what they plan to do by furthering their education or joining the military or joining a trade school.
Yeah, that is great. And I know I've seen like I was seeing a lot of posts that you had with other students. I was like, when is he gonna come to me? Like I never told you that. I was like, hey, he's better come to me too. And then we won the championship, and I saw Ethan coming to me and took a picture. I was like, yes. It was really great. It was really great that I met you, and then we got to talk. We started talking, and I started seeing you at Tova too. But then I came to learn more about you. I asked some questions, and they told me about your story. But I really wanted to personally talk to you and telling me, and also if you'd be willing to share your story, which is an amazing story. And you give the best part that I like about the story is that you give glory to God, that He's the one that helped you through that process. So I want you to share the story with me and everybody that's watching right now.
It happened March 2011 at Media Heights Golf Tournament. I was helping George Steffi and the foundation help raise money for injured youth who were selling the Deuce brand watches. We exceeded our goal. I had a family member and her fiance come by and help out, and we had a great turnout. Everything was good. Unfortunately, I got into a fatal car accident with an 18-wheeler, and it affected my life very much. Basically, when I woke up in the hospital and nobody was telling me anything. Everyone was keeping quiet, nurses walking by, doctors asking me questions, and eventually someone was willing to tell me the whole truth. I was completely shattered, how did this happen? And it turns out, unfortunately, it was the driver's fault. And there was other people who got impacted as well. The recovery process took long while I was in the hospital for several months. That included rehab, and being on that feeding tube also was a bit of adjustment as well.
Yeah, that is great. And I bet it was a hard time for you. And I want to ask you, what were you thinking during that process, recovery? Doing that, it's always hard, right? And I broke my leg, but it's nothing compared to what you went through. But I broke my leg, and I know it's a hard time. And you have thoughts, sometimes negative thoughts, but you have to stay positive. So can you tell me, kind of share, what were you doing to kind of stay positive and keep your mind towards one goal?
I was reading that Bible, front to back. I was still going to church, but it was on a limited basis. It was a situation where I wasn't used to being in the hospital and the rehab all the time and being stuck at home for recovery. I was used to being outgoing. I was getting prepared to go to college. I was getting prepared for the driving test. And then all that got taken away because of my health.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I realized I had a 99% chance of death, which would have equaled a burial, a funeral, and a Passover, and then people going with their lives. But with that 1%, that equal life, which equaled basically an opportunity to make the best of a new start. But also, I ended up going to college again. I graduated from Hack December 2017, transferred straight to Millersville. Ended up getting a car, which was brand new. One time I had my own apartment, and started making an impact in the community that I should do. Because each anniversary that keep passing by, I realized I should be celebrating the anniversary, like how people celebrate people's deaths and legacies at funerals and burials. Because it's about remembering what I'm doing moving forward, and also what I overcame to make progress.
Great. 99% of death. And this is really amazing. And I have another question for you, and actually another question, but kind of tell us, is there anything that really God can do? Because I know you're giving all the credits to God, and I really want you to give a words of motivation to the people watching, that there's always hope with God, and He can do anything for those who follow Him. And what do you have to say about it?
The first thing is, in order to heal a family, everyone must be willing to heal themselves individually and do the work, face the music, put away the social media, and look at what their very core is they having a problem and insecurities with. Second, you gotta know your history and what you gotta overcome. And 3, you gotta be intentional about it. Like how I was intentional on not only the recovery process, but also getting my life back together. I started from scratch, bare to the ground, and worked my way up. But also you have to learn that there's beauty in overcoming adversity and hardships, because there's a whole nother side of it that you can go through. You just gotta be able to walk to that door and go through that journey, whatever you're going through, whether it's your marriage, your dating relationship, school, and you also have to learn to not suppress things inside your mind. You have to be willing to release that energy out on paper, go to family counseling, have a mentor, have a motivator, have a cheerleader. There's so many people we can contact, and there's resources are available. You have to be willing to help yourself first, and then people will start to gather around you and help you cross that bridge. Also, may I add that when you overcome my type of adversity, it's one thing to overcome being in the hospital, being in the rehab, and then being on that feeding tube for several months. I was on a Christmas list worth of prescription medicines. Most people in that situation have a serious addiction to it. I'm talking about the opioid crisis that's going on in America. I never experienced that. So I can simply say that was a grace by God that I didn't get addicted to any of the medicines, not one, when I weaned myself off of it.
That's great. And I know you're talking about overcoming, but before that, right after your accident, have you ever had a thought that you wasn't gonna make it?
There was, because when I was in the hospital, it was just something new to me. I wasn't being independent. I had to rely on people to bathe, had to rely on people to do all the stuff behind the scenes that are common for doctors, nurses, practitioner, nurses, you name it. And all that power I had, independence, was put on hold. And also you gotta understand, when you're in a hospital and your health's not where it should be, you gotta follow the directions with someone who is healthy and someone who does have the experience in the medical field. Some of my injuries that included was a concussion, a fractured collarbone, and a torn aorta, because the artery popped because of the seatbelt, and I should have died within a few minutes of internal bleeding. That's 3 minutes. Most people die at the car accident scene, but for whatever reason, while I was in the ambulance, I still was there, still had a pulse. And as I made it to the doctor's room, the doctor said I might not make it, but I still had a pulse for some reason. And once that surgery was done and woke up, well, that's the day I became a walking living miracle. The doctor was Dr. Watella.
So 1% of living was everything that God needed to be able to make this miracle. And this is really an inspiration for me, and this is the way that I see it. It's God never uses what we have lost to make a miracle. And like in all the stories in the Bible, He always uses what we have left. And 1% was what Ethan had left, and God was able to use it for His glory. And I just wanted to end this and kind of give everybody a word of encouragement. Why is it important for people to stick with God no matter what's going on to our lives?
Well, without God, I wouldn't be here. That 1% was a greater common factor over the 99%. Man may have said 99%, it's time for Ethan to pass away, unfortunately, but God said differently. And when He says differently, He means differently with intentions. I've been saved since May of 2009, and hey, that was the biggest miracle I ever had. That's the biggest miracle my family ever saw, the people in Coatesville and Lancaster have seen. It touched a lot of people's lives. The people became visitors at the hospital, rehabilitation, and coming to my home, and encouraged me to keep fighting and keep going. Calls, emails, dropping by with words of encouragement and just being present. But the other reason is just, God has a plan for everybody on earth who's born. Because whether you were born out of wedlock, born in a marriage, or some other way, you came here with a purpose, you came here with a gift, and your gift's going to make way for you. People who are athletic, they end up using their gift to get into college. Other people use their gift to fight in the military. Other people use their gifts to be in culinary arts, photography, you name it. You just have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you're going to overcome your adversity, your hardships. I grew up without a father who was in my household, and unfortunately, I was already stacked up against the odds to basically go to jail and do bad things, but I chose a different path because I knew where that path would lead me to, but more importantly, I know where I should be, and it helps to be around coaches in my football, wrestling, track and field who are educators who graduated from college, and also being around Division I athletes in McCaskey also encouraged me to follow the right path as well. But more importantly, with God is basically, you gotta make that choice to be intentional about your life and your purpose. No one's stopping you, no one's forcing you to abide by God. But eventually, I learned this phrase about our headstone. People remember the day you were born, people remember the day you passed away. But what's going to be talked about is what you did in between those dates.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. And I just want to add that sometimes as Christian we go through things and it's not always about us. And sometimes we go through things because we can be able to inspire other people. And this is exactly for Ethan. He is impacting a lot of people right now, and he's sharing his story and what he's doing right now in his life. Surely impacted me, and really an inspirational story. So thank you so much for sharing.
Can I add something?
Go ahead.
You can follow my social media.
Yeah.
Snapchat and Instagram, Ethan Poetic 23. My Twitter is EthanV23. And I'm on LinkedIn, Ethan Vaughn. ETHAN VAUGHN, location Lancaster. And you can also find me on Facebook, Ethan Vaughn, location Lancaster, PA. And also have a YouTube channel, Ethan23Able.
Yeah, surely go follow him, text him, DM him, everything, and he surely will be in touch with you guys. All right, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Denzel. I appreciate you allowing me to be on here.
Definitely.
I didn't know I encouraged you the whole time.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta stay quiet, but you did. You surely did. You did encourage me, and I'm sure you did it for a lot of people and other people. So, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.